I'm really happy to be part of this fundraiser and show of solidarity with Black Lives Matter and other LGBTQ plus candidates. Because there is no Black liberation without queer liberation. And we know this because many of our ancestors and people who are part of our movement, Angela Davis, a queer Black woman, is talking about how we end prisons. She was talking about this before we had any idea how we would talk about defunding the police and abolishing prisons. A queer Black woman is one of the 4 people talking about these issues. If it weren't for James Baldwin, a queer Black man and thinker in the civil rights movement, we would not have people who are here fighting not just for Black liberation, but the liberation of queer people as well. Amen. Langston Hughes, a bisexual author. We would not have prolific Black Renaissance poetry without queer Black voices in that movement. Without Bayard Rustin, a Black queer man in the civil rights movement who stood next to Martin Luther King Jr. as a queer Black man. We would not have civil rights if it weren't for the voices and stories and identities of queer Black people. This is why we cannot take away Black liberation from queer liberation, or queer liberation from Black liberation. And as we work towards a future where we have more Black and queer voices who are working to untangle some of the messes we see in our state, some of the failures that are linked to criminal justice, to poverty, to housing, to living wage. We need more voices of queer people, more voices of Black people who are going to take the charge, because our stories are too important to this world and to this movement to be left out. And one thing we cannot hide, or I cannot hide, is my Blackness. And one thing that I choose to proudly show the entire world is my queerness. Thank you all for joining. One of the ways that you all can make sure that we get more voices like myself at the State House pushing for change and for justice is to donate to LGBTQ candidates and to Black Lives Matter RI PAC. There is a link and a QR code that you can scan. But thank you all so much for marching with us. And this is not the only time that we will march, but it's definitely a show of solidarity for Black and queer voices.
Thank you so much, Senator Matt. I truly, truly mean it when I say there is no Black liberation without queer liberation. Absolutely rings true.